to the December 16th, 2025 meeting of the Ann Arbor Parks Advisory Commission. This meeting is being conducted electronically and will be broadcast live on CTN Cable Channel 16 and online at a2gov.org/watchctn. To speak at public comment, call toll free 877-853-5247 or another of the published numbers on the agenda, and enter meeting ID 959-7872-3467. All right, Josh, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Bush,
Present in Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Cavateo, Commissioner Marson,
I'm here in Ann Arbor.
Commissioner O'Connell, Commissioner Montague,
Here in Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Perlowski,
Here in Ann Arbor.
Commissioner Skylas, Commissioner Smith,
Here in Ann Arbor.
Councilmember Redina,
Here in Ann Arbor.
Councilmember Watson.
Here in Ann Arbor.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. All right, number 3 on the list, approval of the agenda. Are there any requested changes to the agenda? All right, seeing none, the agenda is approved. And so now we are at number 4, public commentary. To speak at public commentary, please follow the instructions to raise your hand and indicate that you would like to speak. We allow 3 minutes per speaker. We do not respond in the moment to speakers, but we appreciate you taking the time to call in and share your thoughts with us. Do we have any callers?
We have no callers for public commentary.
All right, thank you. All right, number 5 on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Are there any changes requested or a motion to approve the minutes? Yes, Therese, is that a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Alexa. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, so next up is number 6, presentations. And today we have a presentation from Community Action Network, an update on their activities. And I believe, is that Derek Miller? Are you doing the presentation? Yes.
I am.
All right. Welcome.
Thank
You have the floor.
Thank you. All right, can everybody see that all right?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, great. So hi everybody, Derek Miller, Executive Director at Community Action Network. So just I'm gonna kind of go pretty quickly through a large part of like kind of the bulk of what the organization does and how we manage the Bryant Community Center and Northside Community Center that is part of Parks and Rec property. And so, because there's one section I want to spend a little bit more time on because it's some pretty exciting stuff, particularly in the Bryant neighborhood. And so, Canada as a whole, we have 3 main focus areas: education, housing stabilization, and community building. And so we have various programs that kind of fall under those different categories, like after-school programs, educational summer camps, and food security, eviction, utility shutoff prevention type of services, a lot of community events and sustainability work as well. But we do manage 7 community centers throughout Washtenaw County: Arrowwood Hills, Brick, Bryant, Creekside, Greenbacks Court, Highcone, and Northside Community Centers. Just a little bit of a deeper dive on the education programs. So we have very robust after-school programs that go for the bulk of the school year. And when I say robust, I also mean that we cover not only meals, a lot of different kinds of activities, can art design, Beyond the Books, which is a literacy program integrated into our after-school programs as well. But also we're strategic partners with Ann Arbor Public Schools and Lincoln Consolidated School District. And so we have actually access to like Power School and Schoology and all the academic kind of supports, IEPs, 504 plans. And so there's a very robust integration that we have with the school systems and the way that we jointly support youth. And then there's our Can Art and Design that goes year round, is integrated into our after school programs and our educational and summer camps, doing a lot of co-creation type of activities. Murals for the locations as well. Bryant Community Center being one of them as well. And then our educational summer camps that run 6 weeks, 4 days a week, about 7 hours a day, includes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's also worth noting that all of our programs and services we do not charge for, and serve primarily very low income families and households. And then under our housing stabilization related work, as I mentioned before, with the food assistance, we are Food Gather's largest partner. Last fiscal year, we did over 10.5% of their entire inventory. And keep in mind that they have 150 partners for that work. And that work has, quite frankly, expanded quite tremendously and very unsustainably given the current circumstances. And there's been a lot of strategic conversations with Food Gathers and the other partners to kind of continue to adapt our operations and trying to meet the substantially increased need that we've been experiencing really ever since the pandemic, but has really gone over the top this past year as well. So this is what I wanted to spend a lot more time on just because it's very fresh, but also there's a lot of moving parts and very exciting things going on. So at our Bryant Community Center location, when OSI first launched their A20 initiative, I had CAN signed up as a partner for that. And roughly about 4 years ago, Dr. Missy Stoltz from the OSI had approached me and was interested in trying to identify a neighborhood to try to do an audacious plan of making it carbon neutral. We actually landed on the Bryant neighborhood. I'm not going to go through all the details of kind of the evolution just for the sake of time. But piece by piece, we were able to put a very robust plan together, figure out what we need to do to fully decarbonize this neighborhood, as well as the community center, to reflect a lot of the same things that we're going to be doing to the neighborhood as well. And eventually got that robust plan. We started stacking funding on top of it. And before you know it, after multiple different successes, we have secured, CAN directly has secured a little over $2 million worth of funding that's going directly into home energy retrofits for the households in the neighborhood, including things like roof repair, drainage remediation in the crawl spaces, electrification, updating electrical panels, switching to Energy Star rated appliances, an electric source, as well as started to solarize several houses where we had some funding to help cover some of that as well. Including new windows and doors, and installation in attic and crawl space as well. And then fast forwarding to now, that has gone way over the top, which the OSI has landed $3.1 million to do mostly exactly of what I just mentioned, and just also secured $3.5 million to solarize as many households in this neighborhood, and it's going to be tied into the sustainable energy utility as well. And the last key component that we needed to figure out to truly get on this journey of full decarbonization, it was the creation of a regional geothermal district. And the funding, the city got that unlocked. That's an additional $10 million that was secured for starting the creation of a regional geothermal district. That'll be the source of heating and cooling for these homes. The Bryant Community Center already has a geothermal system. Also worth noting that we not only have solar, it's also a resilience hub. We have 32 kilowatts worth of batteries, and so since we've had that installation, anytime we've had power outages, our operations have stayed active, which is also very important given that we are the largest food partner in Washtenaw County. And so with all these things combined, we are well on our track to actually fully decarbonize this neighborhood, which is an existing, arguably the last remaining unsubsidized, naturally occurring affordable housing left in Ann Arbor. And the work that we're doing, frankly, to this robust level does not exist across the country. We've garnered not only national, but also international attention regarding this particular work. and the Bryan Community Center is the focal point of what made all of this happen as well. And so just a lot of really exciting stuff coming out of here. And the plan is eventually for the geothermal system that'll fall under the sustainable energy utility as well. So in addition to the things that I've already mentioned, we also do a lot of support and advocacy. And that also includes a lot of different kinds of resources throughout the year. We secured, I believe it was like around 400 kids with their full kit of back to school backpacks and school supplies. This holiday season, we had 300 kids receive about $150 each worth of holiday gifts, nearly $50,000 worth of holiday gifts that are, last ones are going out the door in the next couple of days as well. And a lot of other different types of assistance, like I mentioned before, utility and utility shut-off prevention work as well. Just some quick stats for our food pantries in last fiscal year. We had over 20,500 household visits to our food programs across the agency. We've had 0 evictions due to non-payment of rent since 2002. As I mentioned earlier, we had 50,000 in holiday gifts. That is almost all the way out. It was actually 400 students with school supplies. And 3 of our 7 sites are now resilience hubs. And so those sites have also, when we've experienced power outages, have been able to stay operational as well. And our last main pillar is building strong communities. So there's a lot of things like our back to school barbecues, our Thanksgiving potlucks, holiday parties, a lot of like kind of most major holidays. We have some kind of community event going on as well. But we also do an annual cleanup at the Bryant neighborhood as well. And that's a partnership with not only residents, but also with OSI and a few other city folks as well, where we bring in 4 usually 30 cubic yard dumpsters, and they get filled up every year and help try to boost the beautification of the neighborhood. And this is just some various kind of contact information for our organization, and certainly would welcome any questions.
Thank you very much for that presentation. So yes, I'll open the floor up now to questions. Yes, please go ahead, Councilmember Redina.
Thanks. Derek, thanks just for coming on and doing this overview. As somebody who lives in the Bryant neighborhood, I just want to thank you for all the work that you do. It's very visible here in the neighborhood. Folks who are local here, look at Bryant as a reliable resource, and they're doing great work. And I will also put in a plug. I just had my home energy assessment done a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully I can sign up for all of the cool and exciting things that are happening on the energy front here in the neighborhood as well. So thanks for your partnership and all your work, Derek.
Thank you, Travis. I would also note on that I forgot to say about our sustainability work. We are truly tackling energy affordability in the Bryant neighborhood dramatically, not only through the energy efficiency related work, but also through the solarization. The geothermal system is expected to reduce utility expenses by about 40%. It's also worth noting that the Bryant neighborhood, by the federal designation, is considered an energy burdened neighborhood, meaning that over 15% of the residents spend over 30% of their income on utilities. And actually in the Bryant neighborhood, it was 24%. I don't know what it is now, but it's definitely going to start shrinking given the work that we've done.
Commissioner Bush, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thanks, Derek, for the great presentation about the work that you're doing. I was curious if you could speak a little bit more about the Resilience Hub you mentioned at the Bryan Center. And I was curious if any of the other centers you're working at had similar capability, or if that was something you would look to do in the future.
Yeah, so both the city of Ann Arbor, but certainly our organization will have strategic plans to create as many resilience hubs as we can. So we're also not the only ones that are doing this. I know there's other nonprofit partners that are getting similar work done for their facilities. And it's to serve a variety of purposes, one of which is certainly in cases of emergency that, and oftentimes in circumstances, emergencies, the power grid is usually affected in a lot of those kinds of circumstances. And so being able to increase the amount of organizations that can stay active during these types of instances that are also already geared and capable of adapting service delivery to meet the needs that emerge from that emergency. Naturally, food security tends to be one of those that pops up. If you can imagine, like the ice storm we had almost 3 years ago, and then in that instance where we had lost power for over a week, our Bryant site was not a resilient sub yet, but our Northside site was. And actually, for about 5 days, CAN in the city actually set up it as an overnight warming shelter with a bunch of cots, and people would sleep there and be fed and all that kind of stuff as well. And that was just at the very beginning of creating resilient subs throughout Ann Arbor. And so there's just a lot more that are either done or on the way. And then the other part of it is to obviously stay operational in terms of like even like a day of outage or something like that. So being able to kind of smooth out those corners and be able to minimize the disruption to existing programs and services. And so our Northside and Creekside sites are also resilient subs. Greenback's report was/is in the process of becoming a resilient sub. The wrinkle we ran into is the EPA grant that the city had been awarded. It got canceled last February.
Are there other questions from others? I have a question myself, and that is this. It's kind of in a unique arrangement where you're operating in a parks facility, which is why you're here today to present to PAC. And I was just wondering, how has that partnership benefited and or challenged your operations?
To be very honest, Parks and Rec is one of our best partners, and has been a very long-term partner on top of that. I cannot emphasize enough. Just for example, the sustainability work alone has been worth over $17 million being injected into not only the community center, but also the broader community that is primarily low income in the past 2 years. And that has been one of the big things about our work with Northside and Bryant was being able to leverage resources. And it's also worth noting that by far, like well over 90% of those funds I'm talking about are coming from outside Ann Arbor. We are actually bringing in substantial resources to make these things happen, and also being able to tackle strategic goals that the city has for itself as well, like its sustainability goals and decarbonization and things like that. So it's been a really great example of, and the same thing with Parks and Rec, of private-public partnerships that can leverage both resources from both worlds, and also complement each other along the journey about, expertise and talent and resource acquisition and all that kind of stuff as well. It's also worth noting, I think it was about 8-ish years ago, Parks and Rec had actually acquired the property next to the community center and then was able to connect it and double its footprint, because we're still bursting at the seams, but we at least have a much significantly bigger facility to be able to do more robust work as well. And also just the continuity of having that baseline contract, which makes up, well, for our normal operations, sustainability is excluded, is probably about 30% of our operating funds for the 2 community centers. We're really big on leveraging that and acquiring a lot of like other grants and donations and things like that as well.
All right, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Also,
I want to.
always love to give tours of the facilities and
Oh, yeah.
just putting that out there as a standing option for everybody.
All right.
And I'll just add, before we sign off, as I like to do. I mean, obviously, Derek, thanks for being here. Thank you for the partnership. I mean, this is a perfect example of when we in the park system would like to do more, but we don't have the expertise or the resources necessarily to do so. So finding the right partner means an awful lot. And CAN, for as long as I have been here, has been a great partner and continue to do more. And we continue to try to find more ways to work with them to support the community in ways that we know we want to, but don't always have the connections to certain groups or neighborhoods. And so Derek is a great partner with this, along with Ken. So appreciate all that you do. And thanks we'll continue to strive to do more as we step into 26.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Derek, for joining our meeting and presenting to us.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, bye. All right, we are on to our reports, and we will start with Josh and the manager's report.
Sounds good. As we come to the end of the year, I got a few more things than I normally do. The Barton Bandimere Tunnel continues to be well received and utilized as it has opened up. We do have a slight amendment that will be taken to council at the first of the year with the way trim contract. Just as long as this project has gone on, the number of amendments that we have to do is relatively small, but sometimes that happens. Exciting news is the tunnel lighting has finally been installed. So they just finalized the new electrical service yesterday. So it's officially on. It'll be on 24/7 for now until we get it programmed, which will probably take place after the holiday. So just finding the right way to keep the right amount of light in that tunnel for the right times in part of the day. But it should be fun to go out and see the new lighting. Over the weekend, we had two really fun winter activation events. The Gallup Glow and Cocoa took place, in which there was the walks around Gallup Park and that was all lit up. So we had to cancel the first week due to some complications with the lighting, but this past weekend ran for 2 hours each night, welcoming families to come have hot cocoa, see the lights, and make s'mores and listen to some fun holiday music. Between the 2 nights, we had about 100 people come through. And then on the 13th, we had the Great Gingerbread Hunt. I am not responsible for naming these, otherwise I'd make them simpler to say. But despite the really cold feeling temperatures, we had about 76 people come out, and a whole crew of volunteers to help make it happen. So really excited about the work that Tori is doing to activate and try to do some different things that are led by us. So more to come on those opportunities in the future. Update on Mushroom Park. Unfortunately, there's a large oak tree in Mushroom Park that has been on decline for several years, and based on the professional arborist recommendation, it needs to be removed. However, rather than hauling it away and falling it, we are going to be looking to reuse it as a natural play area in Mushroom Park, similar to what we did near the Barton Dam. This gives the tree a second life, an opportunity to create some fun, open-ended play in nature. The reason I'm mentioning it is that the tree is expected to be felled early next week, and will be stored on site until the construction of the natural playground takes place in the spring. So if you're out there, please know that it's coming down because it's declined in health, and to stay off of the tree and any stockpiled materials for your safety. Speaking of fun things going on, the pop-up dog park at Vets Park continues to be enjoyable, be utilized well. I drove by it twice today, and both times I drove by, there were various dogs and people out there. But we did get a count since November 15th. We've had about 11,000 clicks on our counter through the 2 gates. So that doesn't mean that there's 11,000 visit. It just means when I go in and I go out, that's probably 2. If I go with 2 people, but the way that we estimate it, that's about 2,300 visits to the park in the month. And if you've been outside recently, it's not a great time to be outside. So we expect to see more of that use throughout 26. These numbers will be added to the facility report in the coming months. So if you're ever interested, that's where they will be. And my last item as this is the final meeting of the year, it's a great opportunity to reflect on all the wonderful work that staff and PAC have accomplished this year. Our park system is such a key component to Ann Arbor's quality of life, and we couldn't do it without the support of this commission and the dedication of the nearly 500 park staff that worked with us this year that strive to make each visit to a park the best part of a person's day. So with that, I would like to thank everyone on this commission, as well as all of our staff, for making this year really, really special. So thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, and thanks to you also for running like an outstanding park system. Do we have questions for Josh? I just want to note that how lovely it would be to have mushrooms growing on the tree at Mushroom Park. And I'm glad to see that you're working to find a way to reuse that, because I'm sure there will be some sadness at losing a big old tree.
It is, and I think that it is something we're doing more and more of. We're evaluating these opportunities whenever we can. I mean, the trees have to be of certain species and type and all of that kind of stuff, and so we work really hard with our consultants, with our planners, to figure out what we can do, and whenever we can, it's a nice way to reuse something that has that. So we only take down trees when we need to, and when we can reutilize them, we would definitely will. So,
yeah, thank you. All right, if we don't have any further questions for Josh, then I will move on to committees, and I believe RAC is our only standing committee or report out. So Hannah, do you have an update from RAC?
I do, and I always hate following Josh because he does a great job, so I'll do my best. So yeah, RAC met in December. We met last week. We had a presentation on fall team sports for youth and adults. RecCaNet had over 3,500 participants for soccer, field hockey, diamond sports, flag football, you name it. Those took place in various Ann Arbor Public Schools facilities and some city parks. We also had a report on upcoming programs. Winter registration is now open for adult and youth winter enrichment classes, and they have pretty strong enrollment numbers already, which is great. And then I guess I'm going to be quick today. Also wanted to pass along a huge thank you to park staff, because you guys probably don't hear it enough. But RecCaNet staff was very grateful that Diamond maintenance was great this fall. They had no complaints. So keep up the good work.
It's great to hear. Questions for Hannah? All right. Thank you very much. All right, so we are under regular business, and we will start with item 8A is a resolution to recommend approving an agreement with First American Payment Systems, LP, doing business as Deluxe Corporation for merchant processing services. And I understand that Scott Spooner is going to present this one.
Well, I'm going to try. It's a convoluted statement, but the long story short, Golf is changing point of sale systems from 4UP to Club Caddy. The golf courses do not use the same POS system that our other facilities use because they have specialized needs for managing tee times and taking online reservations for those tee times. And Civic Rec, which is the point of sale system we use for our other facilities, does not have this capability. So Golf is changing from 4UP, which has given them some problems in the past, to Club Caddy. The problem being 4UP had a proprietary credit card processing system that was tied to their point of sale system, and it is not compatible with Club Caddy. Club Caddy uses Deluxe for their credit card transactions. Key points, Deluxe has a smaller per transaction fee. And it does, however, have some miscellaneous monthly fees associated with the service. The net effect is to be roughly the same fee that we have been paying for the last number of years with 4UP. The not to exceed $276,000 over 3 years is a large number, but it is consistent with what we've been charging in the past. It also includes a little room for growth, up to 50% more than what we are currently doing. In the last 3 years, I think 62,000 is the largest fees that we've charged. So this 276,000 is 50% more than that 62,000 over 3 years. And it's important to note that this has always kind of been a cost of our doing business. Anybody who uses credit cards in any sort of sale is usually getting charged a fee. Usually those fees are baked into our fees that we're charging. We don't pass that charge on to the consumer necessarily. So we charge the same as we would for a cash transaction with these credit card transactions. So looking at the total cost over the 3 years, it should be very close to a neutral budgetary change. It shouldn't affect our budget one way or the other, because we've been doing this and it's basically the same fee structure. It's just a new company that we're doing business with instead of the old one.
Yeah, and then I'll jump in, Scott. Just a couple other things. You're doing great with that. Yeah, and the reality is that for the most part, this tends to be a reduction of revenue more than an expense to the line. So, you know, if we charge $10, you know, and the credit card fee is $1, and I'm using bad math, but understand, you know, what hits our books is the $9. So it's not like we receive $10 and pay the $1 as a checkout. That's how this works. And so because of the amount, you know, and because it just kind of the way that it's written in the contract is why we need to bring this to both PAC and council, because of the total amount. The change to Club Caddy, the overall contract with that was less than 75,000 for the number of years. And so, I mean, it's an inexpensive way for us to be more efficient. And so that's why that didn't come to council, but this dollar amount needs to PAC into council. That's why this one is coming. So, yep. Unfortunately, none of us like to pay credit card fees, but hopefully a better system will get more people into the golf courses, and free up efficiencies for staff otherwise. So.
Yeah, golf course staff has been working for a number of years to change from 4UP. They've interviewed. They've gone through a couple rounds of interviews with other golf course specific point of sale systems, and finally have decided on changing to Club Caddy this year.
All right. Questions for Scott or Josh on this? I have a couple questions. The first is, did you interview like other golf courses, or have like recommendations from other golf courses on what on the point of sales systems that they were using?
Yeah, that was one of the very first steps, was to contact other golf courses, municipal golf courses, public golf courses, privately owned golf courses, to see what they were using and the pluses and minuses with each of those. Mm-hmm. We did go last year. We went through this same process. We got down to choosing a company, and it turned out that I believe it was their credit card processing that we had the problem with, because they would not abide by some of the financial restrictions we have as a city. So And with the seasonality of the golf course, at that point, we were so far down the road, we opted to stay one more year with the previous point of sale system and start over again.
Yeah. And then my second question was just out of curiosity, what percentage of the golf sales are credit card purchases?
Oh, that's a good question. It is a lot. And actually, if you look at the resolution, the cost per transaction is a little bit less with this new one. It's and that makes a big difference when you're doing $1.50 for a hot dog on a credit card, as opposed to you're paying for a foursome with a cart and whatever beverages you might be taking along, and that's one transaction with a 21-cent fee or a 25-cent fee and then you have, it's the small transactions that really add up especially with the other system that we had.
Yeah. All right. Other questions or a motion to approve the resolution? Hannah?
I just have a question about the
question.
resolution, actually. On page 2, there's a breakdown of historic costs. And for fiscal year 2026, it shows a decrease in revenue compared to the previous 2 years. Is that intentional, or is that because of the way the fiscal years work?
It's because of the fiscal year, and we don't have all of our complete data on.
Okay.
Well, our
You're still
fiscal year
projecting to
will
be
run
more like
until
2025. Okay.
Yeah, our fiscal year 2026 runs until June 30th of 2027. So
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Other questions or motion? Tisha? Is that it? I
I'd
can't
like
hear.
to make a motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Larry, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion as written, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously.
I would like to make
Thank-
one clarification. I just said that FY26 runs until 27. It runs, I forget what year we're in right now. So this fiscal year runs until June of 2026 because we are in 2025.
Yes,
Thank you.
fiscal years, calendar years. It's designed to make our heads hurt. All right. Yes, and I hope that the new system, I'm sure you will uncover the problems with the new system. Hopefully they are not any worse than the old system. All right, 8B, resolution to approve agreement regarding joint recreation programs between the city of Ann Arbor and Ann Arbor Public Schools. And Josh, this is you.
That is me. That is me. So for over 100 years, the city of Ann Arbor has had an agreement with the Ann Arbor Public Schools regarding joint recreation. And this agreement has seen some iterations, although I would say over the last 10, 15 years, there's not been a whole lot of changes to it. You know, as we do, so we try to limit the times that we put this in front of council and the PAC and try to get the agreement right, and then have all the renewals for it because there's not a whole lot of changes. But you know, just looking at the agreement that was last done in 2018, there were a couple of changes that took place. You know, we finally increased some of the third-party fees last May. That was approved by PAC and council for what those charges were. We have some new park names that needed to be updated with it. And then just with leadership at Rec and Ed and the park system kind of being a little bit different, we kind of looked at some of the rules and things that are related to them. And this agreement, really what it does is it says that AAPS has a really good opportunity, the community education and recreation, to utilize the various fields within the park system for their programming. And so it really prevents, it allows us to have a good set of youth programming and adult programming and not compete against each other for those spaces. So the numbers that Hannah spoke about, Commissioner Smith spoke about, aren't split in half between AAPS and the city because of this agreement. It also, because of the use at some of our fields like Veterans and Bicentennial and West being kind of heavily utilized by AAPS programming, they take on the responsibility of utilizing the rentals there. And then the agreement just talks about kind of what each responsibility is for it. It is something that, it continues to get better. I would say that when I look back through some of these, at times it was very AAPS friendly. At times it was very City of Ann Arbor friendly. And I think we're closer to the middle, which is always where we want to be with that. So I think it's a good one. When the new agreement is set to be a 2-year term and then automatically renew each year unless we need to redo an agreement or we terminate the agreement by either side. So fully support it. It's an ongoing one. It's a great partnership, just like CAN. It's one that I want to continue to make sure that we do all the right things with. So with that, obviously.
All right.
Sorry, and I apologize. I put in the, no, never mind. We can ignore. You did not unanimously recommend this yet in the resolution. That is what I add to the council resolution once it's done. So
Yeah.
Copy and paste. So I apologize for that.
All right, questions for Josh? I had one thing that I noted in the contract that you sent, that you've got the old name for Lockett Park listed in there.
Okay. That can be updated. So
Yeah, it's relatively small change, I hope. Yes, Larry, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, Josh, why a 2-year agreement? It seems like a very short agreement. I know it automatically renews, but it's pretty short.
So I mean this has been a 2-year agreement forever, for as long that is what it's been. I think I've gone for a variety of these because it's a relatively low stakes, low cost one. I think having that flexibility, and again, that's why it's an automatic renewal, just so that it's less time restrictive. Doesn't change the plan with it. It just gives us better breakpoints with it. To do a 5-year, I mean, it's harder for us to do a 5-year and then automatic renewals just because we get a little bit lost on it. So, it's remaining consistent with what we've done in the past, and just giving the flexibility of the automatic renewal versus even this last one was 2 years with administratively approved 2 years. So it's one less step. But I think both AAPS, I worked with Sean on this, and we were all in this agreement. This is a good way to go forward. Terms are always a little funky, but it's kind of based on other contracts. It's kind of the direction we went with. So.
All right. Any other questions? All right, or a motion to approve the resolution as written?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Larry. I'll take Therese for a second. Any further discussion on this resolution? All in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right. Now you can say that the resolution has passed unanimously.
Yes. Be good when it goes to council. So.
Yes, and hopefully we have another 2 great years of cooperation with the AAPS on programming in our parks.
I'm sure we will. Sure we will.
Yes. All right. 8C is our 2025 Parks Advisory Commission meeting schedule. So in your packet is the list of
26.
dates.
26. The agenda.
26. Sorry,
Yes.
22. Oh, yeah, you're
No,
right.
no,
This-
you were right. The agenda was wrong. This has not been our
I'm
best.
just reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. 2026 schedule. we're not going to relive 2025.
No.
Yeah, so these are all the dates. Once it's generally speaking the third Tuesday of the month. The exceptions being January and February, where it's the 4th due to holidays. And I think is this something that we need to have a motion on to approve or
Yep. Just a quick,
okay.
there's no real resolution to it. It's just approving the dates. So.
Yeah, all right. Well, like I guess motion to approve the dates. Thank you, Larry. And do we have a second? Thank you, Hannah. Any other comments, questions, discussion on this? If not, all in favor of the dates? Raise your hand or
Aye.
say aye. Thank you. All right, I that's unanimous. The dates are approved. So yes, we look forward to seeing everybody in 2026. All right. Number 9 on our list is closed session. But I believe we do not have anything to discuss today in closed session, so we will skip over that one. And so number 10 is public commentary. And again, if one wishes to speak at public commentary, please follow the instructions to raise your hand and indicate that you would like to speak. We allow 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have any callers on the line?
No callers for public commentary.
All right, thank you. Okay, communications are in your packet. Please take a look at them when you get a chance. And that concludes our agenda, and so we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody. It was great to see you all, and happy holidays, and we'll see you all 4th week of January 2026. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.